I'm broken system, broken trust, and I approve this message.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
All right, guys, we're gonna wing this. So this is going to be, what is it? J-Dub Audits preliminary hearing. It came out like 2 weeks ago. I just haven't gotten around to actually streaming it yet. It's an hour and some change. I threw it in my editor. Dexter's freaking out back there. I threw it in my editor, tried to remove the poor quality from their equipment, noise, didn't work. I tried enhancing the audio. I tried silencing the background, didn't work. So we're going to watch the original. I did manage to not fast forward it. We're going to watch it at 1.2 speed because, like I said, it is an hour and some change long. And ain't nobody got time for that on a Sunday. Worst voice on YouTube, 1,000 correct, or 1,000% correct. Jesus. Let's see here. Let me get all these things up and running and ready to go. And because everybody wanted it, we have the Dexter cam. And the Dexter cam is actually not a garbage cam anymore, so you can actually see my CGI dog or his butt. So we're going to go with this. Let me know if the sound is good, bad, ugly, whatever. Let me know.
Tyler, are we doing anything with Dykes? I know it's a different attorney.
What?
Dykes. I know it's a different attorney. Haven't seen anyone else.
I'm away.
Okay, we're going to fast forward here. He's going to be at the bottom right of the screen. And I'm waiting for him to show up. There we go. Nothing beats wearing sunglasses on your head to court. That's how you know you mean it. All right, there.
It's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Please answer any questions.
That help any? Yeah, whatever. All right, so breaking news as per Internet God. Let me find there it is. Apparently, good old Elmo got arrested. A bunch of good things have happened today. I've seen this. I've seen DMA is going to make a documentary about his time in federal prison. I believe Frauditor Troll and Tones called it 16 Days In, which is fucking dumb. What else? Oh, Gutterman. Gutterman is now running from, I believe it was felony charges for stealing or not paying $3,000 for a RV parking spot. He just dipped out and never paid. So good times around here. Good times. Any day now.
All right, the investigator. Captain. Yeah, I'll take your.
And on top of that, I jacked up the volume to 200%, so it's as loud as it's going to get. So let's see if I can make it a little louder.
Captain Johnson. All right, tell me this. So we've got 4 warrants here: 2025 A06 104 0015, which is breach of peace, aggravated in nature. Warrant ending in 16, which is resisting arrest A. And then we have warrant ending in 17, malicious injury to personal property, 2,000 or less. Malicious injury to personal property, warrant number 18. Can you tell this court the facts and circumstances that led to this one?
Yes, sir. On Monday, February the 10th, 2025, with the general session, court at the Baltimore County Courthouse. I went out to assist with security. I had 2 guys that were on the front porch. I don't think it ever worked the front porch. So I went up there to brief them, and they told me that I pulled inside and brief them. Corporal Gant came up and said that Mr. Washington was outside with ballistic vest on.
What's up? Is it open?
Okay, so he spliced in his own. Yes, my title for this is stream version. He spliced in his video of him getting arrested, and in my head, he thinks it makes him look good, but it doesn't, because he literally tries to break down the courthouse door where he can't film. I'll pull it up on my phone. I actually posted the South Carolina court rules, which says he can't do what he tried to do, and I also found the South Carolina Journalist Association or something along those lines that specifically told him not to do what he's trying to do. But he's a journalist. What do I know?
9 o'clock. Good night. We got Jay Brown. And we got Jay Strickland. Yeah, they ain't opening until 9 o'clock, folks.
I'm from Ohio.
I am too.
So I'm used to, my mom used to say,
Yes.
pigs are going to get real happy in this building from Ohio.
Yeah. I'm from Ohio.
Dayton.
Dayton. I'm from Cleveland area. So Cleveland, Akron area.
Yeah.
But I've been to Dayton.
So yeah, we're here at Barnwell, South Carolina, folks.
Okay, so the normal court rules for the South Carolina whatever says that the presiding judge has to okay you having your phone recording in the courtroom. So strike one for him. And it was the South Carolina Press Association, because I do way too much research for dumbass reasons. It was cameras in the courtroom checklist. They're already calling him out for they want you to wear business attire, so jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers are unacceptable. Check with the judge if you are unsure. And it says there can be 1 or 2 cameras in the courtroom if the judge approves. So it's just like this guy's going down this rabbit hole of, oh, this or that. And it's like, no, these 2 things that you claim to be part of are telling you you're wrong. Unclean Hands is here. Oh, how you doing? I see Shane's Dumb Criminals is here. Apparently you got tased last night, which I'm going to have to go look at because that's hilarious. Going to have to buy myself a taser. There we go. All right, let's get back to this.
In South Carolina?
Ohio, there or something.
Get your bananas.
Did the trailer parks over there for a little bit.
Stupid guy. You see this, folks? It goes against Article 1, Section 9, South Carolina Constitution. Makes it unconstitutional. Which again, that's Article 6, Clause 2 and 3 of the United States Constitution, which makes their oath of office void.
Wrong. I must have missed when in the Constitution or the South Carolina Constitution it said you have the right to willy-nilly bring a camera into the courtroom and record everyone. I don't think it says that.
And then nearby, I took that and
They asked me to be here.
There was a question whether or not he could bring it forward. I contacted command staff and advised the solicitor test weren't allowed for our rules. And, he had video cameras available there. So I went outside and asked Mr. Washburn to step over to the side of the porch, away from everybody, in order not to embarrass him, and advised him that he couldn't come in the courthouse for security reasons, and that he couldn't bring his tablet in and video inside the courtroom. Mr. Washburn became belligerent, and I still need to talk to the guy, so we just went to go back in the courtroom.
All I did was wear a mask on Halloween, folks. That's it.
Is he gonna call you?
First time they ever had somebody flex the muscle on the Constitution, probably. Not used to somebody bringing up some articles.
like that for so long in this country. Mm-hmm. People just don't know.
They want it like that. The Constitution was written in a way that normal folk can understand it. Come up with this legal mumbo jumbo.
It's supposed to be accessible to all.
Exactly. 14th Amendment, equal protections.
Sounds like a garbage truck in the bathroom.
Innocent until proven guilty, everybody. Make sure you flex every single one of your God-given unalienable rights. Exactly. How are they supposed to dress appropriate for court?
Yeah.
That's not equal access to the courts. That's discrimination. He's out here just like us, folks. I don't know who he is, but we'll find out.
Like, I know people here who could barely read in high school.
Yeah, if anybody knows who this guy is, I haven't asked him yet, just let us know. He doesn't have to tell me who he is, but we'll find out. Yeah, it's general session, yeah.
They gonna just call you? Or?
I have no idea, Bo. I just got a letter. They say be here at the 10th, or we'll arrest you. So I'm here under duress and threat of arrest.
I ain't even get no letter.
You hear this, folks?
I didn't realize this through his one video I covered. He like teeter-totters right on the edge of being a sovereign citizen. Because some of the stuff he says is just wildly inconsistent to what's actually in the Constitution, but super consistent with what sovereign citizens, shoot out every day. Willow, what's up?
That's not equal protection under the law. You hear this, folks? That's not equal protection.
I was in jail, and then my people were calling the defendants here, and they said they heard I got one of them.
Heard.
Then I called them.
You hear this, folks?
They call the clerk of the court.
Yeah, clerk of court.
I'm calling the clerk of court, trying to get my court. Then she talks like, I don't know. I'm looking at the fuck.
And we are live streaming, folks. Do you hear what are they doing down here in Baldwin, South Carolina? They think they're slick, yo.
When we did that, Mr. Washburn stepped up inside the court, like wanted to come in, and he was right at the threshold. David Brown told him, Corporal Brown told him that the court was not open, and he stepped back and had physically pushed Mr. Washburn back outside so he could close the door. Mr. Washburn, being extremely belligerent at that point, sound off downstairs, and it's on video. And then Brown was able to shut the door.
I think they're slick. Huh?
You can't wear body armor.
Oh, I can. It's perfectly legal. This is Second Amendment.
Then you need to talk to your attorney.
I am my own attorney.
Okay.
Yeah. How
You're
about
not
that?
coming in with a vest.
But I will. Are you going to block my right to?
Wait a minute. Did he just say what I think he said? All right. I'm pretty sure he just said his Second Amendment.
Shut the door.
I think they're slick. Huh?
You can't wear body armor.
Oh, I can. It's perfectly legal. This is Second Amendment.
Then you need to talk to your attorney.
I am my own attorney.
Okay.
Yeah. How
You're
about
not
that?
coming in with a vest.
But I will. Are you going to block my right to freedom of the press inside the courtroom? Did you swear an oath to the Constitution, sir? Are you violating my oath? Are you violating my oath?
Mr. Washburn continued to pull on the door to try to open it, and we didn't have the key lock at that point. So Brown had to hold the door shut while Mr. Washburn continued to try to. At that point, Washburn started using F words. He got really bad, so I told the guys, we just went and arrested him, call things down, and try to court start. And that's what we did. We went outside. Mr. Washburn, I grabbed him. He broke away from me. Brown got him. Brown stripped him to the ground because he was resisting. At some point, Washburn knocked both officers body cams off. One went flying over the bushes outside.
Come on, guys.
Huh? Did you swear an oath to the Constitution? Are you going to violate my oath today? Are you going to violate me today? Is that what's going on here, sir?
Step back.
Don't fucking push me, bitch. You ain't shit. You just fucking violated me again, motherfucker, on film. You just a fucking assaulted me, bitch. On fucking film, live stream. You're in my fucking courthouse. Mine. You just a fucking assaulted me. You just assaulted me. What's your fucking name? Huh? What's your fucking name? Huh? That man just assaulted me in your presence. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. This is illegal. 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 You'll calm down. You'll calm down. This is unlawful. This is unlawful. This is unlawful. This is unlawful. What's your word? 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 Quit interfering. What's your word?
Speech is not interfering. We have freedom of speech. We can say whatever we want.
What are y'all doing?
Hey, make sure we lock up the shit out of.
I'm going to.
We can say whatever we want. Freedom of speech.
What? You can't freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. You can't assault people.
Okay, great spot to stop. So this guy has, it sounds muffled. Yeah, so he was wearing body armor. First strike for me. You're going to court. Calm down. He tried to bring his big ass tablet in. Dexter, it is a Jolly Rancher, not a dog treat. Thanks, though. This guy in the chat was like, oh, I do Taekwondo or some shit. I once kicked a guy in the stomach and blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, cool. You talked all that game and then you did exactly zero when the cops tried to arrest you. You wanted to talk all the game in the world and then you did nothing. That officer could have picked you up, broke you in half, and then called it a day. And then for sovereign citizens, frauditors, whatever, if you're being arrested, if you prevent them from trying to arrest you, that's resisting arrest. They always want to argue with that. And this is an illegal arrest. This is a legal arrest. That's not for you to decide.
We got him under control, got him back in the courthouse, and took him to jail. Yeah, so the two officers were Corporal Brown, Deputy Strickland, investigating part of this. He actually assisted. They were able to get Washburn under control without any injuries to themselves or damage to the body. initial concern was videotaping inside the courtroom and then bulletproof vest with the fort. This was one of the highest of the bulletproof vest in the wood. That's why we took a ladder and go down. So that's really in his belligerence, attempting to physically gain entry into the closed fort. That's why we charged him.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt. You did. And now y'all hurt me again. Now y'all hurt me again. Now y'all hurt me again.
Why is your property?
Now y'all hurt me again.
I do apologize. That was the officer.
Are these yours? Yeah, that's all mine. All right. Leave the bag here. That's unlawful. That man pushed me out. Seen that, right?
Yes, I did.
Seen that, right?
You guys got me. I was muted. God. Okay. So, let me try this again. I'm over here trying to do a million things in the background. Butterflies and Brian. I'm going to sue you on the First Amendment. Yeah. All right. Let me get into my spiel again. So, you see this a lot with Chris Ryder. You see this a lot in fraud auditing and sovereign citizens, but Chris Ryder is my example. They think that because they're basically a career criminal who have been in and out of the system like their whole lives, that they are the end all be all. Hopefully you guys got, I'm not muted anymore. Hopefully it was a rich and compelling story. But yeah, Chris Ryder does this all the time. He thinks he's the end all be all of legal knowledge, when in reality, he knows little to nothing about everything. And this guy's the same, where he throws out all these amendments. I actually watched Chris do this on Generally Specifics live stream yesterday. Chris threw out the 1st, the 3rd, the 10th, the 14th. They do all of this nonsense, not knowing what any of those things mean. Okay, I'm not muted now. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Dexter has banana chips for any super chatter membership, and then for for anything that equals $20, Dexter gets a water buffalo tail. So that'll be exciting. Here we go.
Hey, I got another. Yeah, see that assault on me? Live stream, David. Live stream. What is your ass?
So y'all first engaged Washburn because the bulletproof broker at the court tire.
That and the property assertion and metal detection probably wouldn't work on bulletproof vest.
And when y'all viewed, or when y'all spoke with y'all determined that y'all were not going to be able to allow me to leave with dust. Right. But he can come in and keep the dust off the record.
There we go.
And that's no different than right?
Right, on hands.
Okay. Now, where you're standing, that was outside the courtroom, right?
Front porch.
Front porch, up top. Were there?
There were several people out. One was an attorney from Lexington. One was Grady Kane. There were some folks with Mr. Washburn. People up there waiting to get to the court.
To handle their cases for today.
Yes, sir.
So once y'all tell him, hey, you can't wear that vest in here, I'm not gonna allow you in with the vest, you can take the vest off and come in, that sort of thing, is that when, Mr. Washburn throws a fit, starts acting out?
Yes, sir. I told him, he immediately started. He can believe it or not.
You can't wear body armor.
Oh, I can. It's perfect.
Then you need to talk to
Second
your
Amendment.
attorney.
I am my own attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, how
You're
about
not
that?
coming in with a vest.
But I will. Are you going to block my right to freedom of the press inside? Did you swear an oath to the Constitution, sir? Are you violating my oath? Are you violating my oath?
And I told him, I said, well, you may want to talk to your attorney.
I don't know. That looked hostile and aggressive to me. And then what he does right after that is definitely hostile and aggressive. So him trying to say, I wasn't hostile or aggressive, your own video shows that you were.
Clarify the court rules with the attorney and then explain to you. That's why I took my guys back inside.
So y'all had engaged him originally, and then y'all sort of disengaged, go back to the courtroom,
Yes, sir.
and that's when y'all attempted to shut the door.
Yes, sir.
And from that point, that's when Mr. Washburn attempts to pull the door, or that's when he's trying to approach y'all.
He's trying to go in with us.
Yes, okay. And while this is going on, I mean, as he goes to pull the door open, they're shouting, there's, I believe this is all
Mr. Washington's storm.
shouting, and is he yelling, I believe I watched the video that
Yes, sir. Straight back to the exactly what you're saying. In Strickler's supplement or whatever, put that Washburn even became irate at that point, screaming, "Don't touch me. You just effing assaulted me. You're effing UIPTH." And others, and he posted second amendment rights and all that kind of stuff. What he did, and that was such a commotion. I later found out by people on the other side of the circle wall that they heard it made for commotion. Pretty handy, pretty loud.
Now, and you mean other side of the circle, are we talking about right there where the city hall is? Are we talking about the opposite, even further than, where's that?
People's.
Okay.
My radio group, people.
So they heard it from nearly a block away.
Yes, sir.
And all this is happening not around 9 o'clock in the morning, right before court starts. While people are waiting to get into the courthouse.
Yes, sir.
So once that takes place, that's when y'all go to arrest him.
Yes, sir.
And he's not any more cooperative during the arrest than he was taking the correct.
Right. He actively resisted arrest. And he was taken 3 guys, restrained, control.
And this is resisting arrest 8. This is not assaulting. It's not resisting arrest, being correct.
Right.
Okay. He wasn't trying to punch the officers or anything like that. He was not cooperating at all during the arrest.
Right.
You said the body cams, they were destroyed.
The clips to the body cams, when he didn't drop them home. Clips that hold the body cam to the home.
Yeah.
The body cams themselves were fine. Clips. Were broken.
So obviously this happened at the county courthouse and certainly in Baltimore County.
Yes, sir.
Please answer any questions that Ms. Alves may have.
You're the lead investigator on this case?
Yes, my case.
Okay. And so are you familiar with Mr. Washburn history?
Yes, ma'am.
And he doesn't have any violent charges, any violent convictions from most of it?
There's a couple resisting arrests.
Does he have any violent convictions?
I'm not sure I'd have to.
You have time to get it? Yeah. If I'd ask you to state this.
Judge,
There's a domestic violence.
But that's not a violent offense under 16-160. I believe the state is stipulating that he does not have any violent.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Under 6 months.
Thank you.
Now, and are you, Captain, are you familiar with the laws regarding body armor?
Not right off the bat.
Are you aware that the law regarding body armor does not, under the laws for body armor, that unless you have a violent offense or are committing a violent offense, a person is allowed to possess body armor, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And there's no administrative order that's been issued saying that somebody can't wear body armor into the courthouse by a court administration.
Not about court information, I don't think.
All right, and in fact, there are signs in front of the courthouse which specify things you can't wear, like can't wear flip-flops, can't wear tank tops, can't wear hats in the courtroom. There's signs up that say that.
Yes, ma'am.
But there's no sign saying you can't wear body armor?
No, that was aware.
And at that time, as far as you know, there was no administrative order issued by any judge that you could not wear body armor.
That's not right.
Command staff. Here.
Sheriff? Okay. And go back to what happened that morning.
All right, let me pause this real quick so Restream can get its head out of its ass. They're trying to make the point that, oh, just because it doesn't say specifically no body armor doesn't mean you can't wear body armor. And it's like, technically, sure. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure it doesn't say you have to wear, I don't know. It doesn't say you can't wear lingerie to the courthouse. Therefore, people could just do that all day. It's like, you got to use your brain. I understand. I know I've been coming after defense attorneys in my last couple videos because I understand their job is hard. They have to represent shitheads. I get it. But some of their arguments have just been piss poor at best. Let me see here. Somebody said something about Chris Ryder. I was thinking about starting to cover Chris Ryder again. But it's just, I think I said this in Generally Specifics chat yesterday. I want to cover him because I find it interesting and it gets views. But at the same time, watching Chris Ryder makes me want to put my head through a cinder block wall. So it's like, what do I want to do?
When you first came up and came outside, Mr. Washburn was standing outside. There was a group of people, and there were other people standing on the portico. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the 2 officers were standing outside.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you asked them to come inside. I think you said because they were new and you wanted to brief them.
Make sure they understood.
So when they first came inside, you left everybody who was standing on the portico standing outside, including Mr. Washburn, and you went in and shut the door.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Washburn wasn't pulling on the door or causing a problem at that time.
No.
And then you came back. Then somebody came and told you that he had on this body armor.
Yes, Corporal Gant.
Corporal Gant came and said he had this on, and that's when you came back outside and talked to him.
Right.
And you told him he couldn't bring that. He couldn't wear that in.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you at any point ever try to tell him to take it off so you could check it?
No, that's why I told him he couldn't come in with this one so long. I told him to his attorney, whichever attorney he had back there.
And he said he was representing himself.
Right.
Okay. But you didn't make any effort to try to check it yourself to see if you could determine if there was a problem with it or if there was
It was my
anything.
understanding that he could not come in without this.
Okay. But what I'm asking you is, did you ever try to ask him to take the vest off so you could inspect it? And at that point, he was arguing with you about the vest.
We didn't get to that point because when I told him he couldn't, that's when he
You can't wear body armor.
Oh, I can. It's perfectly legal. This is Second Amendment.
Then you need to talk to your attorney.
I am my own attorney.
Okay.
Yeah. How
You're
about
not
that?
coming in with a vest.
But I will.
No,
Are you going to block my right to freedom of the press inside the courtroom? Did you swear an oath to the Constitution, sir? Are you violating my oath? Are you violating my oath?
Really? Have you seen the video on this? Because the F-bombs and the cursing didn't start until after the door was shut the second time, according to the video.
Right. But what you're saying was,
No, I'm talking about before the door shut the second time. After you told him he couldn't come in with the body with the body armor, before the door shut. He wasn't cursing at that point. You were just arguing about wearing.
And there was no reason to search him that for because the courthouse wasn't open. We weren't allowing people in.
That's right. That's right. All right, so you told him you couldn't wear it. He's disputing that with you. You went back inside. And he said, yes, you went back inside. You just said, mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. We
Yes,
went back
okay,
inside to talk about
and then the other two officers followed you back inside.
it. Yes.
And then, I want to clarify, there's no body cam from any of the police officers who are out there, is there?
No, ma'am.
The only body cam video we have is the video that Mr. Washburn was taking.
That's correct.
Okay. And so, as y'all were going back inside, you went inside first, and then I believe Deputy, the second deputy, I don't remember his name. Strickler, thank you, followed you, and then Deputy Brown was last.
Yes.
And Deputy Brown was trying to shut the door, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And Deputy Brown actually pushed Mr. Washburn.
Mr. Washburn was trying to get in. He was on the threshold door, trying to get in the door, so Brown pushed him back so he could close it for
Right.
security.
I want to clarify, he didn't actually step foot into the threshold, he was standing in front of the door.
Come on, man.
Huh? Did you swear an oath to the Constitution? Are you going to violate my oath today? Are you going to violate me today? Is that what's going on here, sir?
Step back, step back.
Don't fucking push me, bitch.
Or another thing that the defense attorney just absolutely pissed me off about. He wasn't technically at the threshold. He was just standing in front of the door. He was preventing the door from closing and preventing people from coming in and out. So yes, the officer went, get back. Simple as that. Your defendant's in the wrong.
I believe he was, because you have to step up on that first step on the court.
He wasn't on the step because y'all were standing on the step. He was standing below the step. You were in the courtroom. So Deputy Brown was trying to shut the door and he pushed Mr. Washburn back.
Right.
Okay? And then he shut the door.
Yes.
And at that point, that is when Mr. Washburn, as you say, went ballistic.
Yeah, he kept holding on.
And
trying to
he
get
was
on.
and he was yelling it out, you assaulted me. I believe you just quoted from Deputy Strickler's report. He was yelling, you assaulted me. He wanted something done about the assault. He's yelling F-bombs. And he's directing his comments at the police officers in the courtroom. Is that correct?
Yeah, man, that's right.
And at that point, when he's out doing all this yelling outside, that's when you decided to come back out and arrest him for disorderly conduct. For breach of peace. Okay. And when you came out the door, you grabbed him?
I think he pulled away from me.
And then the two deputies, Strickler and Brown, then took him straight to the ground.
I think Deputy Brown grabbed, Corporal Brown grabbed me first, and then they took both of them and put them on the ground. Security.
And he was struggling and trying to pull away.
You just fucking assaulted me, bitch. On fucking film, live stream. You're in my fucking courthouse. Mine. You just fucking assaulted me. You just assaulted me. What's your fucking name? Huh? What's your fucking name? Huh? That man just assaulted me in your presence. I don't think so. I don't think so. This is the reason. 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 This is the reason.
Yeah, so I think this is pretty open and shut. Like, not only did they tell him to, no, you can't come in and close the door, he tried to break into the door to get in after being told not to. That's the defense. The defense is the one sitting directly next to him. And then I believe it's the captain is the witness right now. But it seems kind of, again, open and shut. That what this guy's being accused of, he did. And not only does it look like it, he's the one who recorded it. It doesn't look good.
But y'all didn't tell him he was under arrest, you just came out and grabbed him.
And another thing. Jonathan says, I have a stupid question. What is he actually trying to prove? That he's a giant pussy. That's what he seems to be proving. But he says, this is my courthouse. This is my courthouse. I can almost bet that those officers pay way more in taxes than this guy does. I've seen a couple of his videos where he streams from his house. He looks like he lives in a rundown trailer somewhere. Probably pays very little in taxes, if anything. So him trying to say, this is my courthouse. You pay for a stick of bubble gum for the judge a year. Calm down. It's not your courthouse.
Jeffrey Brown was the one I believe told me
At what point?
while he was trying to get him under control.
While he was already on the ground struggling. Judge, I don't have any further questions. I think that's important.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I have a quick follow-up.
Oh, yes, sir.
As far as Deputy Brown was standing inside the courtroom, correct? He's attempting to shut the door. And to clarify the issue, however, whichever way Mr. Washburn was positioned at that time did not allow Deputy Brown to shut the door without physically removing him from the area of the door, swing shut. But he did not step out. I don't think he stepped outside the courtroom when he, pushed the defendant. That correct? It was reaching through the doorway. Okay.
That's the court's audio. Like I said, I tried enhancing the voice, which made them talk like robots because of the static. I tried removing the background noise, which would have been the static. It's still trying to remove it in the background of my editor probably right now. I've been trying to remove it for 2 hours. Normally it takes, if I upload a clip that's a minute long, it takes it about 5-10 seconds to remove the background noise. In an hour video, it should have taken not 2 hours or 3 hours. So I gave it my best shot. Which comes first, the criminal or the frauditor? I imagine the criminal.
Judge, I think that's all from the state.
Judge, I would have one follow-up question.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, actually, it might be a couple, but when Deputy Brown pushed Mr. Washburn, I want to just clarify what the push was. It wasn't a two-handed shoving back. It was more, he told him step back so he could shut the door. More of a put his hand in the middle of the chest and told him step back so he could shut the door.
You know how big Brown is? Brown's a big guy. He took one hand and pushed him back a little bit.
So he can shut the door. And then Brown stepped in the courtroom and started until the yelling started.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Judge,
No.
Judge, I do have some motions.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, at this point, we have Mr. Washburn, who obviously has been required to appear in court on this particular day, who did get there and was waiting his turn to go in. When the officers came out the first time, when Captain Johnson came out the first time, and then had the officers come into the courtroom, and they shut the door, there was no problem. While Mr. Washburn, they said they saw Mr. Washburn out there, he was doing his filming, he was talking to people. There wasn't a problem even though the door was shut.
Yeah, it's general session, yeah. I have no idea, bro. I just got a letter. They said be here at the 10th or we'll arrest you. So I'm here under duress and threat of arrest.
I ain't even get no letter.
You hear this, folks? That's not equal protection under the law. You hear this, folks? That's not equal protection.
I was in jail, and then my people were calling the defendant and they said he heard I got going on something.
Heard.
Yeah, I called her.
You hear this, folks?
They called the clerk back in court.
Yeah, clerk of court.
I'm calling the clerk of court, trying to get my court date. She thought, I don't know. I'm looking at the fuck.
And we are live streaming, folks. Do you hear what are they doing down here in Baltimore, South Carolina? They think they're slick, yo. Literally think they're slick.
And they came out the second time telling me he couldn't wear his jacket into the courtroom. I would just point, the law is clear. There's a statute, 6-3-1085, which the officer stated that, where he confirmed that it says that a person, other than a person who has been convicted of a violent crime as defined in 16-160, it's not illegal to own, purchase, or possess body armor. So, unless, of course, there's other exceptions, such as you can't have it while you're committing a violent offense, which does not apply here. But Mr. Washburn does not have a violent conviction on his record.
Can we just talk about how she's calling body armor a jacket?
So he is allowed to possess body armor. Mr. Washburn, there's while there probably will be some type of court administration order, I'm certain, or some type of sign up saying you can't wear it in the courtroom, on this particular day, there was no sign saying you could not wear body armor into the courtroom. Mr. Washburn was told that. He was disputing that with the officers. There was no attempt to try to accommodate him with this matter. There was no attempt to try to search it. And at that point, as the officers, as Captain stated, the courtroom wasn't even open, so they hadn't even started going through security yet. So they hadn't even made an effort to try to check, see if they could check the body armor to determine whether it would be safe for him to wear it in. Mr. Washburn was arguing with the officer because he was being denied something which the law allows him to do. While he was disputing this issue, and there's no testimony that that was a violent issue, he was just disputing and arguing about how come he can't do something that the law allows him to do. That's when the officers went back in the courtroom, and instead of just walking back in the courtroom, they could have told him to step back. That's when the deputy put his hand and pushed him back. We're not trying to say it was a forceful pushing, and I mean, and what he said, all he did was push him back so that he could shut the door. It is at that point, after he got pushed back, that Mr. Washburn then started to curse and yell. And as Captain testified, those cursing and yelling was directed toward the police. He was yelling about being assaulted because what he felt the deputy had done was an assault. He was yelling about how that happened, and he was cursing about that. And those words were directed not at the other people on the portico. They weren't directed at the public in general. They were directed at the police for what he felt was an assault. And as testimony was, he clearly said he was assaulted. When the officers came back outside, they immediately started to grab him. He was not told he was under arrest. He's now yelling his outrage about being assaulted, and he's now being grabbed and thrown on the ground. He's not told he's under arrest until after he's already on the ground.
Why is she intentionally leaving out the fact that he tried to physically open the door to get in? She's leaving that out. And yeah, Victoria B., it seems like she's testifying. She's not saying anything. First off, she's lying about the events that actually took place. Disorderly conduct anyone can be like, that guy's being disorderly. And, oh, you want to be a witness to that? Okay, cool. That's disorderly conduct. If they're just saying, oh, he just put his hand on him to close the door, then why in the next breath are you saying he was yelling and cursing, saying he was assaulted? If a hand is there, that's not assault. So she's just trying to pull out any tricks, trying to use whatever word salad she can to get this dipshit off of this. And spoiler alert, it doesn't work.
The officers, at which point their body cams come off. There's a lot here, Judge. First, the question is whether or not this is he's charged with aggravated breach of peace. The question is, number one, whether there's even a breach of peace been occurred. There is case law. I have the cases, if Your Honor wants to look at them, and I can hand them to the state. There are two cases that I'm going to refer to. In the interest of Jeremiah W., which is a Supreme Court case out of South Carolina, and State versus Perkins, which are two cases that talk about when individuals are upset with the police and they make they make comments, raise their voice, even curse at the police. In Jeremiah W., he even cursed at the police when they were asking him to do something, and he was charged with a breach of peace. The Supreme Court reversed his conviction for breach of peace. There is no breach of peace using profanity toward the police when you're arguing with the police, because the police are expected to be held to a higher standard and to have more of a thick skin than the average citizen. So,
and if you looked at the beginning of the video, he pointed out two people that were witnesses, I believe, for the police, saying that it was a breach of peace or disorderly conduct. So it's not the police saying, yep, we're the witness, this is disorderly conduct. It's other people in the crowd saying, this guy is being too loud and crazy. Why is he acting like he's on drugs?
There is no profanity unless you are using fighting words. At no point was there any testimony that Mr. Washburn used any type of fighting words toward the police. Yeah, he used profanity. They said he used F-bombs. We're not denying that. But all those comments were directed toward the police for what he felt was an assault by deputy. Also, Your Honor, I don't think the state can support a breach of the peace. Also, none of this, he was already standing outside. There was no problem with anything until the assault. Where's the aggravation? In order to have some type of aggravation, there have to be aggravating circumstances. In one case that I found, it talks about this. This is the problem we have here. Is this is a very vague statute. It's pretty much anything goes, because it's so vague, it's so broad that anything goes. But there are cases where they had to consider whether or not a breach of the peace is aggravating. The only case I could find, it was this case called State versus Sims, and I can't think of this, what's the case he wants to look at?
You said State versus
Sims. That is a case where the person was actually convicted of disorderly conduct and aggravated breach of the peace. But in that situation, that person was actually doing an act that was likely to inspire violence in another person, and that's the only factor that they could really find that the courts considered whether or not a breach of the peace is aggravating. In this situation, and then I'll just go into the details in Sims. In Sims, there was a college football game. There was some issues between the members of the opposing supporters for the opposing teams, and the person actually he started a fight. He started a dispute that wound up causing the death of the other person.
So it seems like that case she's referring to, the second one that she's still talking about, has nothing to do with trying to break into the courthouse after being told you can't come in. Maybe that's just me. Leave your opinions in the chat, but it seems like these two cases are completely different.
It was Gamecock versus Alabama, and so they were fighting about whoever won the game. And in that situation, they found that the person was trying to incite other people to violence, and that's what they found aggravating in that. In this situation, we don't have that. We have somebody who is cursing at the police over a wrong that they felt has been done to them. Their comments were directed directly at the police, not at anyone else. Wasn't telling anybody, come, let's call the justice. He wasn't telling his friends to do anything. He was just cursing and yelling. I think at most, if you find breach of peace, which I don't think there is since the comments were directed toward police, and both cases that I cited talk about you must have fighting words, and in this situation, there weren't any. So I don't see where the aggravation comes in. Judge, as to the resisting arrest, at the time that the officers came back outside, Mr. Washburn could have believed that he was within his rights to yell at the police, to curse at the police, because there is state case law that says you can do that if you're upset with the police. I mean, I know it's not right to perhaps yell at people, but unfortunately, the police have to have a thicker skin based on their dealings with the public, and the fact that you use profanity is not sufficient unless there's fighting words. He wasn't using those. He felt
God. I'm just gonna throw the mic. I'm just gonna throw the mic. I went up to turn off one of these lights because this camera has auto lighting and it's freaking out. I shall wait. Yeah, I'll give Dexter a treat while I'm waiting for you guys to tell me I'm muted. There you go, Dex. All right. Am I back? I think I'm back. Okay, so yeah, what's going on is it's auto lighting the camera, so I got up to turn it off, so I muted myself. Forgot to mute it back up. All right. So, as per always, frauditors, sovereign citizens, and the like, it should be I don't want to say like a hate crime thing, but like a kicker that kicks in. It's like, oh, you were doing this while trying to monetize your criminal behavior. Okay, cool. They took it from this level to the next level, as if you did it 2 or 3 times on your first time. And this is what this guy's trying to do. They forced me to be here. Okay, yeah, they forced you to be here. They didn't force your, body armor to be there. They didn't force your gigantic iPad to be there. They're telling you to show up to court. Like, it's that easy. And these guys just always want to try to monetize their criminality and this shit. Like, YouTube should just kick them straight off the platform. Their first try. All right, guys. We've got a genuine. Let me read these off the back here. So we've got a free-range, grass-fed water buffalo raised by small-scale farmers in the same manner as they have for centuries. Yeah, that's what this is. It's a... Let me see if you can get a better one. There you go. It is a water buffalo tail. There you go, Dex. Go enjoy your water buffalo tail that you're going to tear up in 2.5 seconds. Erica, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Dexter appreciates it. Yeah, it was his actions that forced him to go to court. That's what I'm saying. This guy gives me just mad sovereign citizen vibes. It just kills me. All right, I'm gonna... man. Yeah, I mean, some company paying... Oh, God, let me wait for it to pop up. I mean, some company paying individuals so they profit off crime is, in fact, a crime. Yeah, KFAR bringing the gourmet stuff. Yeah. Like, this is where what I'm doing, where I'm covering their criminality, that's like news. That's, hey, this guy did this thing on this date, except for I throw in, hey, this is why he's fucking wrong. Like I said, I went to the South Carolina court rules and all that shit. I went to the South Carolina Press Association to find out why he was also wrong. But here he is. What's hilarious is that what caused him to go to court on that day in the first place, he was there wearing a mask in a police station where there's an actual statute that says you have to take it off. I don't know what to say. It's like, this just goes to show you that I was correct in what I was saying earlier. Where it's like these people are trying their damnedest to do whatever they can to get views. And it's like, okay. Okay, I'm just going to play the video because I'm just getting more and more angry by the second.
He's within his rights to wear body armor. So he could not have known that they were intending to arrest him at that time until the deputy tells him that once he's already on the ground, having resisted what he's feeling is an unlawful assault and an unlawful arrest by the officers. So I don't see where he resisted arrest. They were able to get him under control after he's already on the ground, after he's already struggling with the officers. And that brings us to the next the next two charges of malicious injury to property. Judge, for the malicious injury to property, they're saying that during the struggle for the resisting arrest, he knocked off the cameras for two officers who he was struggling with and caused the clips to break on the cameras, and for that reason he's being charged with malicious injury to property. Judge, while I am not conceding that this was a resisting arrest, if he was in fact intending to resist arrest and was resisting arrest, I don't see how the state can establish that he then formed the intent to damage the state's property or the officer's property. There is a case that is State versus Bryant, which State versus Bryant, that is a case where a person was being arrested, attempted to assault the police officer, missed, and damaged the police car. They were convicted. The Supreme Court overturned the conviction for malicious property because in order to have malicious injury to property, there has to be an intent to actually damage the property. You can't just have an intent to harm a person, miss, and then damage the property. You actually have to have an intent to damage the property. There's no transferred intent. Now, if you try to swing on one person and then hit another person, well, there's a transferred intent. You're going to jail for potentially attempt on one person and hitting the other person. But you can't have that same transferred intent from a person to property. So while I am not conceding on the resisting arrest, if you find that he was in fact resisting arrest and that the cameras broke during the resisting arrest, they can't charge him with malicious injury to property because there was no willful, malicious, intentional act to damage the body cams. In that situation, there was an attempt to resist arrest. And if during that situation the body cams get damaged, there's no intent to actually damage the body cams. That would just be to resist arrest. So you can't.
I think there should be an entirely different statute for what you just explained. Would those body cams have broken on the ground if he did not resist arrest? No, they would have been on the officer's chest. Therefore, it is his intent to resist that caused those body cams to be broken. Like, this is one of those things too, where the defense attorney should be able to just say, yep, he's guilty on everything. This guy's a shitbag. See ya. Have a good day.
You can't do both. You can't have both. And like I said, in this particular case, this person was being arrested, was fighting with the officer, and damaged the police car. And they said that there was no intent to damage the police car. The damage was that the police car just happened to get arrested while he was assaulting the officer. He was convicted of the assault of the officer, but they overturned the malicious injury. So for those reasons, based on those case law, and I can hand you on the cases if you want to take it. But for those reasons I've stated, I don't think that the state has established aggravated breach of the peace. I don't think they've established even regular breach of the peace. They have not established resisting arrest. They have definitely not established malicious injury to property on either one of those two charges, and I move that all the charges be dismissed against Mr. Washburn. And I will hand you the cases that I cited.
Yes, ma'am. You can proceed if you'd like to.
I just know that Jeremiah W., I think I only have one copy of that case. There is some writing on the bottom of it to show us what's going on. It says what the defendant's officer.
Thank you. Well, anything from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. Judge, again, and obviously, the breach of the peace is a very broad statute, and that was obviously written that way by the legislature for a reason. Again, we're here today. We're not here to try the case. We are here for probable cause, very low bar. As far as breach of the peace, Judge, breach of the peace, not aggravated. I think the initial contact of this, essentially this wanting to validate by the defense, validating the defendant's.
So the rabbit says, KFAR, you just advocated for guilty without proving anything for everyone. Theoretically, a plea deal is also advocating for guilty without proving anything to anyone. I'm just saying that this guy's clearly guilty. Like, the video proved, I had to make sure I wasn't muted. The video proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he did the things that he is accused of. But it seems like, yeah, everyone's entitled to a fighting defense, but there has to be something to fight against. You can't just pull things out of your ass that, like she was talking about a college sports event where two people were swearing at each other and one of them died. It's just like, ma'am, how does that have to do with a guy trying to break into a courthouse after being told that he couldn't come in? Oh, it doesn't. Contempt of court. That's what you should do as a judge.
Right to be upset because law enforcement isn't going to allow him in with his bulletproof vest. That statute is not absolute. There's a statute that says you can carry guns. There's a statute that says you can carry this and that. It doesn't say you can carry it anywhere in this state unless you're law enforcement or a solicitor or recently public defenders. So, not absolute. Second of all, it's a clerk's courthouse. It's the judge's courtroom. And if they're not going to allow someone in the courtroom that is going to be a disturbance to others or does not fit appropriate court attire, no different than a hat, flip-flops, there's been multiple instances where they're not allowed in because of those things. So law enforcement here engaging the defendant up front is them saying, hey, we haven't even started yet, but we ain't going to let you in with bulletproof vest. They tried to cut it off at the head. That didn't work. There was some sort of being upset at that point, which law enforcement at that point disengaged. They disengaged because they knew what the defendant was wanting. He was wanting a rise out of law enforcement. They disengaged. They go to get inside to regroup. And at that point, them disengaging is not enough because the defendant wanted to argue. He wanted to cause some sort of disturbance because of his constitutional rights. When Deputy Brown is trying to shut the door, he's unable to shut the door. He's standing inside the courtroom. He's not doing it two-handed. He is trying to simply shut the door, and this defendant is still being uncooperative for some reason, thinking that he's entitled to talk to the officers while they're inside of the courthouse when it's not open. when he has no such right. He wasn't allowed in there before 9 o'clock. It wasn't 9 o'clock yet. It wasn't when they opened the doors yet. So they tried to go on and tell him before he's not allowed to do that. He doesn't like that as an answer. From that point, when they go to push him, that's when he loses it. He loses it because he felt he was entitled to follow them or at least stand in the doorway to yell or argue his rights. That right there, all that leading up to that is breaching the peace. But it is so loud, so aggravating that not only are there people standing up and down the stairs, but there's people across the way.
All right, so I'm going to wait for this to pop up on screen. I just don't like the idea that KFAR reacts, suggested the defense should say my client is guilty when the defense is required to defend to the best of their ability. And now, okay, yeah, somebody actually just said this. Okay. That's not it. Wait for it. So you're advocating for the defense attorney lying, which is what she's doing by trying to bring up cases that have nothing to do with the case at hand. You're trying to prove his innocence by lying. It's either your attorney says, okay, yes, the video proves without a reasonable doubt, yep, he's guilty, sorry. Or you're advocating for lying about what happened in the video, cases that have to do with this case that couldn't be further apart. I just like the truth.
Almost a block away at People Sentinel, they can hear this going on.
Okay, right there. Uncle Dan's Vintage Vinyl. A lawyer defending a criminal defendant cannot ethically make false representations to the court. That's how it should be, but I've seen it once here, and I believe it was in my... Where is it? The Judge Washington case with that defense attorney who I did not like as well. He intentionally brought up cases that had nothing to do with it or said, hey, this case has to do with this. And then turns out it had nothing to do with this. Like muddying the water by using a vague reference, that's not lying. I say yes. If you're intentionally bringing up cases that have nothing to do with it to muddy the waters, in my opinion, that would be lying. I think the definition would be it's lying as well.
There's people in public, numerous people, that can't even come to the courtroom, wait for their case to be called, without having this kind of motion going on right outside or right in the front door of the courthouse. They cannot come to court peacefully because of this defendant. So much that people across the street, or a block away, other side of the circle, is hearing this commotion going on too. And as far as his right to be able to cuss out the police, again, sure, you can cuss out a policeman if you wanted to. It's no different than the possessing a gun or the bulletproof vest. It depends on the location and the place. And in this place, he thinks that he apparently has the right to cuss out law enforcement in front of everybody else, causing a commotion. There's lawyers out there. There's people that are just trying to wait to do their job that day or come to court because they were summoned to court. They can't do that peacefully. That's high and aggravated there. These fighting words, they say there's no fighting words. I don't know what else is to be fighting words other than dropping the F, saying the B word multiple times, all to what? In this whole circumstance, he is trying to get a rise out of law enforcement. And what was law enforcement's first response? Tell them what was right, what was wrong. And that disengagement was what set the defendant off. Because he was not going to take that for an answer. Because that's not the answer he wanted. He wanted them to engage. He wanted to cause a commotion. So, after he is trying to get in the way of them shutting the door, and after he has caused all this commotion, that's when they go to arrest him. He should certainly think that it is reasonable that he was under arrest after doing all this. No one else in this situation was cussing out the police, cussing out deputies, whoever it was during this time. It was only him. So it was reasonable for him to think that he was under arrest, which is, it is very easy to tell the enforcement says at the time, all right, you're under arrest, and they resist. But if it's also, you know you're under arrest because of the actions you just took, and you're still trying to resist, and that makes sense because if someone's trying to resist arrest and you're trying to arrest them, how many officers are going to think, crap, while I'm wrestling with this guy on the ground to make sure he doesn't get after my gun or whatever it be, I also need to say the words, you're under arrest. It doesn't make sense. That's not what the statute was intended for. And as far as the malicious injury during this whole ordeal, the body cams get destroyed. Whatever it was, I believe the clip is destroyed. They're thrown way off the ground. I think they ended. So, Judge, we're here for probable cause. With the case you found over.
Just may I respond briefly?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. He likened the situation of somebody not being able to bring him. But the laws we have clearly say you can't bring a gun into a courthouse. And there are signs saying you can't bring a gun into the courthouse. And it's obvious. Anybody should know you don't bring a gun into the courthouse. But in this situation, Mr. Washburn was allowed, under the law, to wear a body armor. There's nothing in law that says you can't bring it into the courthouse. And we're not here for body armor because the issues and the problem, the cursing didn't start when he was told about the body armor. That was when he was disputing the statements that he couldn't wear it with the officers. But the problem started after the officer put his hand on him and pushed him back. Whether the officer was right or wrong, Mr. Washburn was upset about that, and he was hollering about being assaulted. He never made any comments to anybody else. As the captain stated, all of the comments were directed toward the police regarding the assault that he felt had happened to him by Officer Brown. Judge, in this situation, even if you find that there is a disorderly conduct for Mr. Washburn's behavior, does not aggravate it. There wasn't any fighting words used. There wasn't any intent to incite a riot. And this is the vaguest statute ever. There's no definition of it. But as I said, the only case that I could find where they even talked about what to consider is the factor to consider, and the fact that in that particular case, there was an inciting of, like as I said, it was a game card version of a game, so we know how hostile that would have gone depending on who won or lost. But there was an attempt to incite others to violence. In this situation, we don't have that. So even if you find there was a breach of peace, which I don't concede, but there's nothing showing it was aggravated. And Judge, as to the resisting, you're going to have to make a determination on that based on my previous arguments and what the solicitor said in the testimony. But there's a case, State versus Bryant, which I think is 100% on point, the same as this. That person was being arrested. They were fighting with the officer. They got charged with assaulting the officer and damaging the police car. The Supreme Court reversed the conviction for damaging the police car because there was no intent to that while they were fighting with the officer. And in this situation, I said once again, I do not concede the resisting arrest charge. If you find that that he was resisting arrest, then there's no way that I don't think you can find that he intended to damage the body because that were damaged during the struggle during the resisting arrest.
Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so at this time, with the charges that we're looking over resisting, breach of peace, high and aggravated, and dismiss the malicious statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Captain.
All right, guys, that's the video. Okay, they got rid of the one that I kind of assumed they'd get rid of because let me get this off screen real quick. That's the one I don't need anymore. There we go. It's just me and Dexter now. All right. Don't like that. There we go. The whole office. Let's see here. I think Dexter can get more because of Greg. Greg for 5 gifted memberships. Dexter's going to be chewing on that damn, what's it called, for the longest time. And no, I'm not advocating for, let me find it. I'm not advocating for the attorney turning on their client. I'm for the attorney stopping and saying, hey, like, I believe in realism. I always talk about this. I believe in realism, living in the real world, being factual, being correct. looking at your client and saying, there's no case, I'm going to smack around and say, there's no case here. Like, I have no defense that is anything. Like what she just did there, she just threw shit at a wall and nothing really stuck. In my opinion, the prosecutor took her to Pound Town when he got to smack back. The office needs curtains and a floor. And I know we had a while ago a fireplace company come and look at the upstairs fireplace. I need them to come down and look at this fireplace just so I can make sure that works, because it's freezing cold down here all the time. Water buffalo tail. What did I? Hopefully I said water buffalo tail. Yeah, this is where we've seen it in court a bunch of times. Lawyers or defense attorneys should have a power if a client tries to push lies. But what happens here is that the client will say, oh, there's a breakdown in the client or attorney-client privilege. I need a new attorney. And the attorney, again, we've seen it a bunch of times, the attorney will tell the judge, like, I can't go into it, specifically, but what he's trying to get me to do does not go in line with the law. And that kind of seems like what's going on here, but the attorney is just going with it. I found the no intent to cause damage argument quite stupid. If he was fleeing in a car and bumped another car while doing it, it would be the same thing. Yeah, there are unintentional consequences of intent. Dexter's crunching on that thing. He's like halfway through it. I thought it was going to be him tearing it apart in 2 bites, but here we are. But yeah, that's the thing here. All right. What time is it? 3:48. That's fine. That's fine. We can roll with that. All right. So it's about to be 4 o'clock. I have a video coming out. You know what? I'll do it right now. I will move it to 5 o'clock. I will have a video come out at 5 o'clock. Because I can do that, hopefully. Maybe one day. Scheduled. We'll make it come out at 5 o'clock. Everybody go watch it at 5 o'clock. It is a frauditor. Lucid, I left you a very nasty comment on this video because you made me do this video, and I sat here in my cold basement office for 2 hours covering this 40-something minute video of a frauditor getting trespassed from a Taco Bell because he couldn't stop recording kids, and all of the parents had problems with that. That's the video that's coming out at 5 o'clock. But I stayed up until 3 or 4:30 doing that video. Good times. All right. Everybody have a good rest of your day. If somebody's live, go watch them. I don't see anyone live, so there's that. All right. See you guys later. Bye.